All right, everybody. Thank you for coming to our fourth webinar that we've had since the midget season was put on hold and since we all kind of got locked indoors. So I have some new faces on the call. What I'd like to talk about today is about outside zone, how to run it, what the quarterback's responsibilities are, what our offensive line blocking schemes are on there, and just to get to know that individual play really, really well. I really like this play. It's something that I run a lot. It helps to set up. It helps to set up a lot of play action, which we're going to get to on a later class. For those of you who have joined for the first time, I am going to copy and paste some links. Just give me 1 second into the chat. And what that'll allow you to do is go to old calls that we've had. If you're bored, you can reference these, go through them. They're about an hour long. They cover everything from passing plays I like. We did some zone read stuff on Tuesday. And they're all available up on YouTube. They're all free. And they're all ready for you guys to learn from. Like I said, if your coaches have a certain way of doing things, follow what your coaches have to say. But these are how I like to do things and kind of my philosophy. So with that, we're going to hop right in. And we're going to start with our agenda today. So I'm doing things a little bit different. I've had a little bit more time to find film that I like. Clearly, I can't get 5 or 6 players together and film some skills and drills that I like. So I'm very limited to what I can pull from what's available online. But because of that, I was able to pull some drills that I like, and I want to do the first 5-10 minutes talking about warm-ups that we can do from position to position. Today I'm going to cover receiver warm-ups, and then we're going to hop into today's main topic, which is our outside zone playbook. I'm going to show you about 13 to 14 cut-ups of this. We're going to talk about it. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. And then we can go from there. So with that, let's hop into our first receiver drill. So this is a pre-practice drill. What I mean by pre-practice is when you show up to practice, most players show up 10, 15, 20 minutes early. It's a gab time. People are talking to each other, getting to know each other. Keep in mind, you're responsible for your own performance and you're responsible for your own development. So I like to take 10 minutes pre-practice if I was a player, and habits that I've seen from some of the better players is they start doing some pre-practice drills. You might hear your coaches refer to them as early outs. That's what the pros refer them to. That's what we do at George Mack and at the Raiders. What that is 10 minutes of stuff that you can do, self-directed, but stuff that can help better you. This is one of my favorite ones. So I like to have 2 receivers, quarterbacks. This is a great drill for you. It helps warm up your arm. It also helps warm up your hands just in case you're looking at playing receiver a little bit later. So stand about 10 yards apart, and you're going to throw 10 footballs head on, 10 footballs to each side, and go from there. What I really want you to focus on is focus on getting your eyes to the football. You catch the football first by locating it with your eyes. Then you're catching it with your hands, not your body, and you're going to look your football into your hands, otherwise known as eyes to tuck. If you're a Dickinson kid, you've heard that from Jabari, you've heard that from Ryan Thelwell, you've heard that from Pete Costanza. Eyes to tuck, eyes to tuck, eyes to tuck. This really helps create a habit, right? I want your default mode when you're catching a football is to look it in and bring it in. The only way we can make that natural is by doing it a lot. So with that, let's show you a little bit of video. Keep in mind, this isn't the best video that I've found. It's just what's available to me at the moment. So let me bring it over and we can talk from there. Also on a new computer system today, so it's a little bit different. So this is a little bit stretched video, so forgive me for that. But as we go slow, we're looking at the receiver in the black, okay? He's getting a football thrown right at his head. I know he looks like a midget. I'm sorry. But as he gets this football thrown at him, I want you to watch the hand placement and the head placement, okay? Hands are out, ready to accept the football. Look at his eyes looking at that football, right? This is a time where nobody's watching and there's nobody about to hit you. It's a safe time to take a couple extra seconds and look that football in, okay? Again, watch his head as he comes up, right there, accepts the football, and then he brings it in, tucks it in deep, right? Gets ready to get a hit and go from there. So that's what we call eyes to tuck, this philosophy right here. Eyes to tuck, right? Now, he's going to catch a couple more footballs, just get rid of them. Okay, again, off to the side, but the technique doesn't change. Okay, as the ball is flown to the side, he's going to look it in and tuck it. Now, the way I like to run this drill is I like to have about 10 or so footballs thrown standing like this, and then I'd like to have 10 or so footballs thrown at him while he's standing to the side, and then to switch sides. Really great drill. You can still talk to your teammates. You can still have fun. You can still ask about school, but this is a great pre-practice drill to get you ready for practice. Now, once we actually get into the practice drill, if you're on a team that I've coached, or if you're on a team, if any of you are lucky to play for the Dinos, this will become an everyday drill for you, okay? So quarterback is going to stand about 10 yards away. All of the receivers are going to be in a line. One receiver at a time is going to start moving towards the quarterback at about 50%. The quarterback's going to throw 2 balls each to each receiver, one at the top of the helmet, one at chest level, and one at foot level. Okay? Again, we're focusing on eyes to tuck. We're focusing on catching with our hands, not our body. And for those high throws, if you don't have to jump, you don't want to. Reason being is if we leave our feet, we leave control and we leave our speed. Okay? That's the difference between a 10-yard catch and a 10-yard catch and keeping our feet and turning it into a 30-yard run. Does that make sense? Let's have a look at what that looks like in practice. Play number 3 here. Play number 2. Okay. Just give me a sec. Okay, as he's catching the ball. Okay, you can see the receivers in line. Catching the football. Eyes to tuck. This is what I want your helmet to look like after you've caught a ball in a game, okay? I know you need to look for people coming to hit you. I know you need to look for people making a play, but none of that matters if we don't catch a football, okay? Get those eyes to tuck, and then we can go from there. Super important, okay? Eyes to tuck, eyes to tuck. If there's one thing you take away from this, it's eyes on the football all the way into tuck, right? That's a low ball, but he's managed to get it. This one's going to be a little bit higher. Okay, no need to leave the feet. Again, this receiver's really exaggerating, but look right here, looking the football into where it needs to be. Now, we can't do this drill outside right now. I know that. I know that's frustrating to a lot of people. The way I would adapt this drill at home right now is to lie on your back, throw a football in the air, throw it about as high as your ceiling is. Do this in your basement or where you have a high ceiling. As the ball comes down, have your hands out in front of you, grab it, look the football in and tuck it, tap it, throw it back up again. We're all bored. This is a great way to get our hands moving and to get our dexterity ready to go. And it's something you can do. You don't need to do it in a line here. Okay. Let the clip run a little bit more. Nice low catch. Eyes to tuck. He's a little bit late on that, but I'll forgive him. And then the next one, nice low ball, but he still gets it in. I believe this is our high clip here. Nope, it's a low one. one more here. So look at this catch, okay? I mean, I get it, there's nobody there, but his eyes are looking at the football, okay? It is so important when you're going up to catch a high catch that your eyes are caught on the football. So many times we just get lucky and we throw our hands up and we 50-50 catch it. You can increase your odds so much by getting your head in the right position. This is a great example of catching a high football. Okay, great body mechanics, climbs the ladder, and then how does he finish? He finishes eyes to tuck. I think we might get one more in here. Again, climbs the ladder, head is in the right position, looking at the football. It's going to come down and tuck it away. These are the kind of things that make the difference between being a decent receiver and a great receiver and a next level receiver. And you have to commit to them pre-practice and during practice. I've got one more drill to show you, and then we're going to get into the main dish today. Okay? This is a bonus drill, and this is for players that are having a hard time catching the football with their hands. We have a lot of receivers who, when they start playing, end up catching the football with their body. It becomes a lot tougher to do when you have equipment on because it will knock the football up in the air. It will bounce off. So if you're one of those receivers that's struggling with this, or you're one of our coaches who have players on our team who are early in their development and have this problem, here's a way to deal with it. This is really old video. I apologize. I would have loved to film some fresh stuff. It's super old. So what you do is you get a goal post, okay? You have your player right behind the goal post. His hands are out. He still needs to look the football in. It's the same drill we've been doing. The only difference is he needs to catch it with his hands first or it's going to bounce off the pole. There is absolutely no way to trap this with your body, right? So as we run through the video, I'll go full speed here, right? Great drill for somebody who catches the football with their body. It's also a great concentration drill for people who don't have that problem. Again, this is something you can do during your isolation time. Have your mom or dad throw a football at you. Even if they lunge it at you, it still works the same thing out. You don't have to have a big group of people to do this. Just find yourself a pole. And that is our receiver drills. Are there any questions about the receiver drills before we get into the main dish? Do you find those helpful? I'm trying to find other ones for other positions. So I'll go through running backs. I'll have some linebacker drills. I'll have some O-line drills. And I'm going to make that the first 10 minutes of each call so you can improve from there. Is everybody happy with that formula? The chat's still working here? I'm okay waiting for people to comment. Thank you, Caddison. Appreciate it. And say, okay, good. All right. Perfect. So we're going to move into outside zone now, okay? So outside zone and zone reads go really well together. The previous episode we had was on zone reads. I encourage you to watch it because that focuses more on our inside cuts. The big rule that we talked about in our last session was for inside zones, your choice is to hit the hole or to bounce out. There is no such thing as stretching an inside zone play. The reason why is because we have our outside zones, which are a designed stretch zone running play, okay? This is a foot race between the quarterback and the running back. The quarterback is going to be in his 4.5 yards pistol stance. He's going to get the football, but instead of just turning and handing the ball off, he actually has to work to make the handoff. He's got to meet the running back on the way to the hole. The running back is not going to step first towards the quarterback. His first 3 steps are going to be outside to the hole anyway. So if your quarterback doesn't move, we're going to miss the handoff. Super important teaching point from the running backs, not to leave until the quarterback has the football in his hand. So if the quarterback has a high snap or a low snap and you leave too early, he's not going to be able to get you the ball, and it becomes a lead play. Not the end of the world because some of these quarterbacks are pretty athletic. They can take off after a fumble, but I'd rather execute the play. So please, running backs, stay until the ball is firmly into the quarterback's hand. Again, we're going to use our covered versus uncovered philosophy when it comes to zone blocking. Your coaches may say this differently. They may have different terminologies. Follow what they want, but for this case, I'm going to be using covered versus uncovered. So to the play side, our covered linemen are going to take the man that's on top of them. Our uncovered linemen are going to help with the nearest guy and then chip to the second level. That might not make sense, but I've got some video where I can walk you through it. The guard and the fullback have the most important block. They have a double team to the D end up to the outside linebacker. This is the key block. If we do not make it, the play does not work. Again, we're slow to the hole, but fast through it. The running back presses the hole outside. This is not something for dancing. The running back has to get to the hole, and then he's going to have to make a decision on whether he wants to cut back or press the hole. If you get to the hole and you see color that isn't yours, if you see other teams' jerseys, what are we looking for, chat line? Yes, Mateus, excellent. Hayden, excellent. We're looking for that cutback lane. As long as you see your own jerseys in front of you, press the hole. If they are not in front of you, that means the defense has either won the play and it's going to die a quick death, or they've over pursued and we've set up that backside push. I'm going to show you some clips of a running back who does a really good job of pushing the hole here. He's now playing for the Dinos, a kid named Mason David. He really did a great job of pushing the hole and waiting until something came available, but knowing he had his own color in front of him. What this play looks like on paper, okay, we're going to have our slot back cracking the backside end. We are going to ignore the backside end for the sake of our offensive linemen. We're going to let that slot back crack the backside end. The backside tackle is going to come on up to the outside linebacker. We're going to leave the line player. Our guard has to get the line player. Our center guard to the play side is going to double team the covered man, and whoever is uncovered is going to slide up to the linebacker, the middle linebacker. Okay? Next, our fullback will motion up pre-snap. He might leave a little bit late depending on what your scheme is, but I like to have him up there in a tight end wing position. To me, that creates the best level of success, and we double team the defensive end here. By double teaming the fullback has to attack outside shoulder and seal this off. Once the fullback seals this player off, he's going to go next level, and he's going to look for an outside linebacker or an edge player, whatever that looks like. Now, let's hop into some actual video on this. Find where I had it. Give me 1 sec. Outside zone. Let's go full screen here. Okay. So this is against the Cowboys. This is tape from this year. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 down linemen, 1, 2, 3 linebackers. So that makes a lot of sense. It's a really easy system to block against. This number 6, we're not going to care about. Okay, he is. If he makes the play here, he's done a hell of a job, and they're probably a much, 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 much better football team. So we're going to ignore him. We should climb up here. We should climb to linebacker here. Let me just get rid of that. That doesn't make a lot of sense. We should climb here, get number 2, climb here. Because this guy is covered, he's taking the covered guy. Okay. This lineman right here, our play side guard, is covered. So he has to take the guy in front of him. Center is going to come, help out, and work his way to 15. And then we've got what I call a combo block, a tray block. Our fullback is going to motion up, and we're both going to work to this D end and then come up to try to block 38. The reason why we have to get the double team to start, is because if we don't get that double team, it doesn't matter what the linebacker does, right? We will have the play blown up in the backfield. We need to give our running back a chance. So the hope is we get the double team and we're able to give the DN to our tackle and then work our way up to the linebacker. So let's run this play. Let me get my notes for this play too. Sorry, I have written notes as well. Nope. And I just lost them, so bear with me. Okay, we are back. So for play one, it's against a 4-3 front. You can tell it's 4 down linemen. On the outside, the fullback will roll up early and move up to the linebacker. And as you can see, this creates a lane. Okay, let's walk through the play. So fullback comes up. We have a combo on 15, slide up to 38. Now, both of those guys over pursue, so our running back smartly follows where the hole is and keeps pressing, right? This is a good example of how when you see your own color, you keep going, right? Right here, he sees white pushing all the way. He's going to go until he gets tackled. It's a nice 5-yard gain. This is a really good defense we were playing against, so a 5-yard run against this linebacking core was a good-looking play. So again, we're leaving that backside unblocked. As you can see, 6 shouldn't get touched here. He comes in untouched. He gets a bad crack, but that doesn't really matter. That's more to set up our boots off that anyway. Perfect. So let's go to play number 2. This is a little bit older film from 2013, but I found a couple of really good looks back from those days. So on this play, we're going to see our fullback leave a little bit later, but we get some nice blocking up front. We're able to double team the tackle up to linebacker, and the fullback makes his block with the end. And this is a great example of a defense walking up a backer to fill the edge. We've been doing this a lot against this team. So their way of taking it away was to walk a backer up and put him on the end of the line. If that happens, what happens to our combo block? So our fullback and our tackle on the end. I'm looking at Caleb Hobson or Peter Dorkson on the call, some of our linemen. I'll give you a couple of seconds to hop in. Nothing? Okay. So what'll happen is if they walk up a linebacker that we're supposed to block at depth right beside the D end, that makes it easy. Covered versus uncovered, we're both covered. The tackle is going to take the end. Our fullback is going to take the linebacker. And if we win on those blocks, we win on the play. So as we let this play run through, okay, fullback's going to come up a little bit later. And they walk up a player, so we take him. And then we get a really good cutback from the running back, okay? We don't really materialize this because our blocking on the backside wasn't as good as it could have been, but it's a good cutback here. He sees players that aren't his own, and he looks for that cutback lane. Okay, let's go to play number 3. A couple years later, this is with the Bulldogs in 2011. I really went back into the vault with this one. This is blocked very well by the line and the fullback, but I feel like the running back decided to bounce this out too early, too fast. If you do that, if you get too far outside on a well-blocked play, you're going to allow the DBs to get involved in this, right? The whole aiming point for our running backs is if this is blocked well, I want you to cut off the right butt cheek of your fullback or your outside butt cheek of your fullback. The closer you can get to the hole, the closer you're running north-south. I don't want our running backs to run 10 to 15 yards sideways. I'd rather them run 10 to 15 yards towards the end zone. The way to do that is get it shortest by possible. So if our fullback gets a good block and we cut off his rear end as close as we can, we're immediately getting yards. We're immediately getting vertical. I would rather if you run for 8 yards, we gain 8 yards as opposed to running 35 to gain 2. Okay, let's watch this play and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going up to the left. Fullback kicks out. Actually, this wasn't the play that I had written down, so give me 1 sec to catch up. Yeah, okay, so our fullback actually decides this end is working too hard to get outside. So because he wants to be so aggressive in playing contain, we're just going to help him, give him a push, and we go from there. Sorry about that. That wasn't the cut up I wanted. Okay. End zone view here. We're going to the left. Fullback moves up. Okay. We're going to see the outside linebacker here widen a bit, but not too much. Right. Again, I want to have a double team here working to this man. And our fullback notices 64 has this done well, right? Now, this running back made a bit of a mistake, and I'll tell you where he made it. Right here. Okay, can anybody tell me what the running back should be doing here? You got it, Ben. We see green space here. 65 is working to seal this off. We've got a block here. This is our lane. And if Michael hits it here, he's going for a touchdown. Easier said than done to get it right all the time. So he stretches it out right to where the players are. As soon as you feel your jerseys are in your way, in front of you, feel free to cut the ball up, right? Run it one more time here. Right here, he says his jerseys are there. There's no need to stretch it out. He could have cut it up, but that was early on in the year, early on in the season. Okay. Another older clip. Apologize for the video quality. Oh, Peter's talking about how good O linemen are. Fullback comes on up. Okay. A little bit late. Now, what would I have liked the fullback to do here? He misses it here, but if he could get a hand on this D end here, not a huge block, but even just getting one hand on him will allow that that offensive tackle to take over the D end, and then I want him to work his way up, right? He still gets his block. His angle's a little bit off, and now our running back really has to work to get around. Okay? But if we double team that a little bit better inside, sorry, I'll roll it back far enough. If we got a better double team here, we would have been able to cut the ball up here, and that would have made a big difference. Instead, we get a bit strung out, and our fullback makes a block carrying him to the outside more than he should have. Okay, moving on. Same game. Okay, we motion up. Now, I don't know if you can see it. It's very subtle. But our fullback is going to get a hand right there and then move up. And now his body is in the right position. Okay. He is right now on the outside of the D end. The D end is working hard to the linebacker is working hard to get out, but he is caught. We have a running back here who has a lot of speed, and he's able to turn a very simple play into a long run. Okay. This shows you how important that block from from the fullback can be, okay? Because without that block, we're in a bit of trouble. Right? Instead, we end up taking a pretty massive run here. So I'll let it run full speed here so you can see it in its glory. Nice chip there. We get the linebacker blocked perfectly. We've got a lot of people chasing. Moving on to the next one. I believe play 7. So our fullback is a little bit late getting up. He is able to get the D end, but look how much this defense wants to over pursue, right? Everybody is working that way. Mason's going to put his foot in the ground, press the hole, and follow his line, looking for a bit of a cutback lane. Sometimes your cutback lane isn't all the way back to the backside of the play. Sometimes it's a little more subtle. Okay, and in this case, he doesn't have to make a huge cutback here. He's going to make it right here, just a little bit up there, right? I see Marshall said, good to see some fullback love. Don't see them used very often. For those of you who are coached by me or have anything to do with us, the fullback, in my opinion, is the most important player on the team. They're very, very seldom recognized, but they are so important to a blocking scheme. The reason why I love fullbacks so much is it gives you the flexibility of a tight end without the rigidity of putting them on a line. So if you put a tight end on the line, you can't motion them. With a fullback, you can use the same type of body type. You can motion them up to the line. You can motion them to either side. You don't have to tilt your hand on where you want the big guy to be. So again, nice block here. Mason puts his foot in the ground. Nice run, running hard. Follows his own color. That's a back-breaking play. Very simple to block. You don't have to make killer blocks, but if you get your assignments, very tough for the other team to adjust for, right? Again, let's watch the backside here. We're going to have our tackle leave and start looking here for extra work. His linebacker that he was trying to get to was really far off. Nice looking play. Oh, sorry, one sec. Next play here, a little bit older look. Hey, Luke, I'm going to get you to mute your phone if that's okay. Mute your computer. Perfect. Okay. A little bit older look. Fullback comes up. This was the play I was talking about earlier where I wanted to talk about the running back. Okay. We have a nice double team here. Now, I would like to see the running back here. Because if the running back is here on his second or third step past getting the handoff, we're making positive yards. Instead, he's going to go for a little bit of a run. And I think it kills the effectiveness of this play, right? We get a nice block from the fullback, great angle, and instead of cutting it up, we're running about 5-6 yards this way. If we take those 5 yards and we turn them north-south yards, we can actually make some progress in getting to where we want to be, which is the end zone. Okay? This is still a successful play, but that's why I want your aiming point to be at the outside shoulder of, outside butt cheek of the fullback. Again, you quarterbacks here, I want to show you this. This kid named Tyler Jacobson takes the ball, and right there, he's not waiting for the running back to get to him. He's actively working to get out and really sell that stretch. If we can influence that stretch and really get the right aiming point, what this also does is it allows us to set up the counter off this, right? The bootleg off this, right? So this allows you to move and pull right out. We'll get to play action after I cover counters in a session, but this sets up play action really well. Quarterback could have rolled out better. He's looking and admiring his work. I would rather every play the quarterback take off to show a potential threat there. And then once we see them sleeping on the back end, it goes from there. So one reason why I want you to carry that out, like a lot of quarterbacks might say, hey, but we're not running the bootleg. We're not doing that now. What this will allow your spotter in the booth to do, and what this will allow your coaching staff to do, is find out what defenses do when you roll out, right? If we hand the ball off 6 times, and for 5 times this D-end is going for a little bit of a run, we know that we're setting up that boot well. If this D-end stays at home all the time, and every single time you give us that look, which forces us to stay at home, we can now game plan a little bit better. So it's a way to help your offensive coordinators out by doing everything properly at the same time and going from there. In this case, he's admiring his work. And we get a 5-yard carry off this, but I truly think on this play, if we're coming straight here, we're going to have a 10 to 15-yard rip here. So well blocked. I just don't like how the running back bounced it out. Does that make sense? Moving on. This is play 9. Let me find my notes here. Okay, we're going to motion up to the line. We're late. Now, another great example of pressing the hole and moving your feet. Okay? So this running back, like I said, he was a special football player. But right here, instead of dancing in this hole, and a lot of times we get caught up in moving our feet and looking for there. What Mason does here that I really, really like is he decides in one step that he's coming this way, right? If he were to dance here, these guys would close on him and this play would be over. But instead, he makes a very definitive cut and he does it full speed. Now, all of a sudden, we have a bit of a cutback lane set up for him and we get a big play over that. But if he were to dance right in the hole here, what was a 20-yard gain stops right here, right? Now, just because I like O-linemen, I'm going to play this block for you. Let's ISO these 2 players. Caleb, Peter, this is for you. Boom. Has nothing to do with the play, but you got to love it when the Hoggies get involved. Okay, moving on. Actually, really quick, is there any questions on the chat line? Anybody have anything that they want to ask about anything they've seen so far, or is this all making sense? Okay, I don't see a rush of questions, so moving on to the next play. Get a nice end zone look here. I'm working to get more end zone cut ups, so we'll go from there. So 23 is going to come up to the line here. We're showing it. This is a 3 front, and if we get a 3 front against an outside zone, this is actually really easy, right? This guy should take an inside stab. This guy should come outside. If we block him here, we're going a long way on this play. Now, especially with the movement inside here, right? Now, what's disappointing here is that our fullback decides to kind of soft play it, right? So he gets to the line. He doesn't know exactly who to block. He knows this should be his guy on paper, but he knows he's got to come up to the next level. Instead of doing that, he's going to wait a second and then get involved in kind of a crappy double team, and it really strings out the play a little bit here. Okay, so now if we've got a 3 front, which you're seeing a lot more defensive coordinators are showing 3 fronts. It's starting to come back. A couple years ago, you never saw it. You know, if you see a 3 front, you know that you're probably just going to chip and then get to the second level. Because if you get to the second level and this running back runs this line here, we're in positive yardage really, really early on in the play. I believe I've got 2 more good looks here, and then I'll let you get back to your evening. I believe this is the same play from a different angle. No, it's not. Much better play. Sorry. As we go here, fullback is up. He's learned his lesson, right? He chips there, makes great contact with the linebacker. I would have liked him to hold the block out here. Now, remember, when you're blocking people, it's not necessarily about blowing them up and getting them on their back. It's about getting their body where you need them to get them, right? So as this player comes up, he makes great physical contact. I would rather, instead of making great physical contact, he gets his body in between and pushes him, right? I don't necessarily care about a blow-up block. Those are great for highlight tapes, but they don't necessarily make plays work. Okay, but now our running back gets a full head of steam. He can stretch it as far as he can. It doesn't work as well as it could have because a linebacker makes a play. But I like the aggressiveness from the fullback. I like the player selection, right? He selected the right. Here, just let me get rid of the comments. He selects the right chip and accepts the right player. He just gets caught on the outside of him. Okay, so make sure your body position is right when you go throw in a block. Okay, one more look. I don't think this is a very good look one. Yeah, I threw this on the cut up just because I wanted Mackay to see this. Okay. Right here, our fullback is up on the line. They've got a 4 front, so we should get a double team here up to this player, right? Our center and tackle should take him to him. If we get those blocks, we're going for a little bit of a run here, and life is good. Instead, our D-end splits the 2 defenders. Okay, I expect better from our tackle over here. I would have liked that to be a better block. Our D-end is in the backfield, and our running back has to make a play. We also have to take a holding penalty because we missed the block, and that was unfortunate. See, I've got one more look, and then you're good to go. Okay, a really good example here. Okay, as we press the hole, we're around the corner. We're starting to run into other colors. I would have liked him to make the decision to keep going here. Okay, because right here, he's made a good decision to be nice and close. I would rather him take it up here to get some extra yards. But instead, he looks for the cutback lane. What I do like about it is it's a definitive cut. He doesn't dance. He makes a decision and he goes from there. So that is outside zone the way I see it. What I'll do is I'll open it up to any questions. Does anybody have any questions online about what they've seen today? Going once, going twice, sold. All right, with that, I'd like to point our new joiners to this call to our YouTube channel to have a look at the previous chats. There's some really good things on there. Tuesday's call goes really well with today's call because it's really inside and zone read and outside zones. So have a look at both of those. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to reach out. Again, we are back on Tuesday. at 7 o'clock. Sorry, Donnie, it does look like the midget season has been, or sorry, spring season has been canceled. That being said, if there's a way to do it safely, we're going to be looking at doing it safely. So stay tuned for that, and we'll let you know. Everybody else, thank you very much. I will see you on Tuesday.